So we have snow ongoing here in Pikeville, Kentucky. Pretty neat looking picture here. Hope you all doing well today. Today's Friday, the 12th of December, 2025. Getting close to Christmas. It's a neat picture to look at. And this highlights the cold air that's going to be pushing the south here. This is the initial push of through the Appalachians, Kentucky area, right? This beautiful picture here. So looking at the radar, taking the hazards off here real quickly. You see what I'm talking about? Um, Snow streaming through the area into the Appalachian Mountains, right? Um, Looks pretty heavy there, right? And these are the cameras that I have pulled up. Snow up here in Montana, close to South Dakota, Minnesota. Bitterly cold temperatures, record cold up here in the north. The northern high plains. We'll go over that as well. So, in the short term, this cold air, short to midterm, the cold air is going to push down to the south and bring very cold temperatures, excuse me, to the south for a couple days, and then we're going to have a quick warm up after that. And then a little further out west here, we get a break from the atmospheric river. But in the mid to longer term, there's going to be more onshore flow, more heavy rain, but pushing further to the south. We'll go over that as well. Then we'll go over the hazards, local forecasts, things like that, and excessive rainfall outlook and those other things. And then we'll be done. So let's get started here. Again, this is the radar, right? If we take that off and we change this to a different setting here so I can put the temperatures up. Well, all right, here we go. All right, so you see where the coldest temperatures are here. Brutally cold here. I forgot my pen. I do this half the time, but here we go. So yeah, the coldest temps up north here into the northern United States, but this is gonna push the south here, and cold front's gonna push through, bring cold, bitterly cold air, like I talked about here. So the only really warm temperatures are down here into Florida, right? Um, so so yeah, these are just air temperatures, guys. So let's look at the winds real quick. See what the winds look like. Then we'll switch to the wind speed here. So you see winds 20, 30 miles per hour up here in North Dakota, South Dakota. So you can bet the wind chill values are pretty low here, and we'll go over that too. But now the current hazards here. Take the temperatures off. All right, so current hazards. We have wind and weather advisory in parts of Kentucky, Virginia, Indiana. Winter storm warning here. Louisville, Frankfurt, Paris, Maysville, Madison. Dense fog advisories down into Texas. Then up in North Dakota, winter weather advisory, cold weather advisory. So this is wind chills as low as 40 below. Wow. Okay. Cold weather advisory. Well, this is sorry. This is I'm not. Let me. There's two different ones up here. Okay, so the cold weather advisory is the one in like the aqua color here, and up here we have extreme cold warning, right? Wind chills 40 to 45 below expected. I I can't imagine that like impacts. So Luckily, well, today's Friday, and so the kids are probably in school. Hopefully, either they're not going to school today, or I just won't want to be out in that. So, into Montana, we have winter storm warnings. Miles City, Terry, Billings, Montana, Fort Benton. I can't pronounce that. Havre. One of our other advisories in those areas. And you have all these flood warnings out west here. Flood watch still ongoing here. Likely the last day for that, the flood watch, but flood warnings. Looks like all the major rivers surrounding Seattle just flood watch, flood warning. So, and even into parts of Idaho, northern Idaho here as well. There's some air stagnation problems here to the south here where there's just been a stagnant pattern ongoing here. Dense fog in the valleys. And so, and down here as well, we have a dense fog advisory. So what we got here, frost advisory here in western Florida. Probably the first day for a frost down here. So that's all those, right? Well, I forgot this here on the east side of the lakes, lake effect snow warning and weather advisory, 17 hours. So this is another look at the current temperatures and wind chills side by side. So on the left here, you have the current temperatures, right? And over to the right, you have the wind chill values. So you see the wind chills, negative 20, negative 30 degrees. You see up here to the north, negative 30, negative 40 degrees Fahrenheit. Just brutally cold Arctic air, okay? So for a good portion of the nation, it's still below freezing. Even up to the north here is very cold up in the northeast. So this push of cold air is really going to make an impact. Like I said, going this way in general and move out. Bring some snow to the northeast here, and then a quick warm up after that. So here are the key messages for the mid-December cold. This was issued yesterday, 420. So you can see we talked about this, but this is where the most impacts are going to be with wind chills being negative 40, negative 50 below zero Fahrenheit through Tuesday in these areas. Moving through the mid-Mississippi Valley, Ohio Valley, Central Plains. So if you don't have to go out, don't out here, okay, to the north. So yeah, this is also highlighted in the day 3 to 7 hazards outlook. The hazardous cold expected the 14th and 15th, and moving to the south on the 15th down here. And then the 15th through the 18th, heavy snow expected out west. The 16th through the 18th with heavy rain as well, and high winds possible the 16th through the 17th out west here. As far as the local area here today, highs in the 60s, so and clear skies, sunny, so very nice day today. Tonight, high lows in the 40s with clear skies. The clear skies will lead the radiation of cooling, so we get down to close to freezing up north here. And tomorrow, highs in the mid to upper 60s for central Georgia, the high 50s, the lower 60s in North Georgia, and near 70 South Georgia, and clear skies. Okay, so that's not too bad, right? And then what do we expect further out? 7-day outlook. Bottom drops out from north to south here on Sunday. Highs 40 to 45 on Monday, lows 10 to 20. It's going to be brutal. And warming up, but still below freezing overnight for a few nights. And then warming up to near 70. Okay. And here's the probabilities of temperatures being below these indicated values on Monday and Tuesday. So 90% chance of it being below 25 degrees on Monday here in Macon. Um, it's likely to be below 20 here in some locations for a couple days or close to it, and then warming up some, right? So, yeah, gonna get cold, guys, but luckily it won't stick around long. So, going over the temperatures according to the Euro ensembles, which is arguably the best, most reliable model here. I think this really shows it well here, and if we look at the chart, we can kind of analyze this real quickly. So what this shows is 5 to 95% uh, range for the models, right? And the model climatology um, max temp, right? It's in the middle here, average temp. And down here you have your minimum temp, right? So, and these show the ranges of the models, and it highlights the uncertainty here. So, um, I think uncertainty on Sunday is based on timing here. So, depends on when the cold front pushes through and how cold it gets and how quickly it gets cold. But you can see above normal temps here today and tomorrow, and then below normal expected, and then much below normal, like 30, 20, 25 degrees below normal here. And for lows, we're talking for Monday morning, low of 22, high of 43 for Warner Robins area, right? And you can see the lows here going to be in the 20s most likely, right? And so for lows, this is still 20 degrees below normal. You see how quickly it warms up, and the green line is the ensemble mean. So ensemble mean is showing above normal lows and above normal highs through and past Christmas here. So for next week, we talked about the atmospheric river picking up again. The storm track is going to change a little bit here, right? Um, it's going to dip to the south here, so it's going to bring um, some more active weather further south, right? And but you're going to have a ridge building to the east here, and we'll go over a little more detailed with that. But that's the general pattern that's going to be upcoming next week. And here are the key messages as well for the atmospheric rivers affecting Northwest and California into late December. So you can read this, but the La Nina pattern with enhanced onshore flow is favored to persist into the new year. So this is likely not going to let up, right? But same graphic, December 19th through the 25th here. So highest confidence for heavy precip is across southwestern Oregon and northwest California. High risk is posted. So that's pretty impressive given how far out this is. So yeah. So what does model guidance show in the short term here? If we stop this, we see and this is a simulated radar, right? So we see where the snow is here into parts of Montana, and we overlay that. Look at the cold air here. See the coldest temps, brutally cold here through today. Cold air pushing even further to the south. This is the main story, right? Look at this guy. It's just very cold. I know this is kind of glitchy a little bit, but you see the cold air just bleeding down to the south here. And this model is still running, so maybe it'll get out to 48 hours before it's done here. So run that through to the end. You see where the coldest temperatures are. This is 11 p.m. overnight. So air temps in the negative teens here, right? We look at the simulated radar. See what we got going on here. We have energy pushing into the east here, and maybe a weak low developing offshore. And the HRR, wants to have some relatively quick hitting but somewhat heavy snow here, maybe into the Baltimore area, Philadelphia, Trenton, New York. So looks to be cold enough for snow here. So if we go out to the NAM 3K, we can go a little further out with this. The rain snow line is just in south, southern New Jersey, right? And then we got that pretty heavy band here. We could have a heavy band of snow in southern Jersey as well. So if we look at how much snow that's expected here, well, it's a 10-to-1 accumulations. You see where the heaviest snow, according to the NAM, is going to be. So roughly Philadelphia area, Vineland. Tell you what, let's look at the models here and see if it will tell me, give a model mean here, the total snowfall. You see where the most snow potential is, at least right now, according to this model, right offshore here. Looks like the most intense bands will be just offshore, but potential for some somewhat heavier amounts just to the west of it in the southern New Jersey. And if we look at the GFS model, it's roughly the same with heavy bands of snow moving through the northwest flow here, right? And we can look at this, how it moves to the east and the lake effect favorite areas. So yeah, I mean it. Yesterday when I was looking at this model off the East Coast, it wasn't. Let's go a more recent run in GFS. Compare it to 0Z here. Pretty much the same, guys. Likely to have quick hitting system to the east. And of course, the biggest impact is the temperatures here. So yeah. In the longer term, we'll look at the European and see what it has to say here as far as the flow goes. We'll look at upper winds, 250 millibars here, right? European 00Z. This is Wednesday, right? Get a little short term. You see why we have the system development here. We have a trough digging right off the east coast here. And you see it takes a negative tilt as it pushes offshore. If this were to happen a little bit sooner, we likely have more chances of a nor'easter type event with the system kind of really developing, right? So it's not developing until it gets a little further offshore. So at least according to this model, right? So moving on a little bit, that system moves out pretty quickly. This is Monday. You see the atmospheric river getting going again here with a connection to the to the tropics here, right? We move through time with this. Wednesday, 17th. Pattern just continues. See how strong the jet is here and pushing straight across. And when you have a flow like this off the Pacific, it's not likely to bring cold air in here, right? Just a lot of flow, right? If we go to 500 millibars, yeah, different flows in the jet stream here, but this really, see how intense the jet stream winds are here, 165 knots. Let's see how far this trend continues, right? You have a buckle in the jet off the west coast here with high pressure building to the east. And what's that tell us, guys? Go to 500 millibars, same thing. Tells us that we're going to bring more precip into Southern California likely here. And if we look at the vorticity at the mid levels, that's exactly what's happening here. You have the low that the high pressure that it built in out west here is no longer there. It's shifted to the east, and so the flow is dipping further to the south. And if we look at moisture, see where the most moisture is here, right? So streaming onshore. Then you have another system towards the end of the period, maybe streaming that onshore. All right. So we slip back to the vorticity. That low just is parked offshore here. So yeah. Going back to the radar, let's take a look here. This is for the longer term, right? So we start at about 80 hours or so. Let's take thickness values off. Or put thickness on there. I don't know. What should I do? Okay, I just leave it like that for now. Moving through time here. You get through Friday, you may have another system dropping down here, and I don't like it without those lines. So looks like another cold front maybe moving through here, but not a lot of cold air associated with it because the system's way up to the north here. You have another system way up to the north here, and systems moving into the west coast. And that's where all the action is going to be, really. Another system moving up here to the north into parts of Canada. And this is pretty far out, guys, so hard to say, but if you look at the overall flow, this is what's going on. And the West Coast is going to keep getting hammered with systems, with persistent onshore flow here. Okay, so yeah, next we're just going to go on the longer range hazards and things like that that I always go over. And that'll be it for today. As far as the risk for heavy precip, here is the outlook the 19th through the 25th, all along the west coast. And we talked about that in the model output, right? Snow, risk of heavy snow, same thing here, all along the western U.S., okay? High winds, right along the west coast, has a moderate risk the 19th through the 21st, and parts of parts of Alaska here. Somebody in my house keeps opening and closing the garage door. I'm not sure why, but they keep doing it, so it's bugging me. Um, um, 19th through the 25th here, slight risk of high winds. Maybe through some frontal passages, things like that. No hazardous temperatures expected, except for in southern Alaska here. 6 to 10 day temperature outlook. Above normal temperatures expected here. Look at Hawaii, likely above, and Alaska below. All right, and so you see how confident they are in temperatures being above normal here for most of the U.S. As far as precip goes, we talked about this. Along the west coast is going to be the most active, and the northern tier maybe will get in on it, but likely in the south to the southeast, below normal chance of precip, and near normal along the Gulf Coast. Temperatures look to remain above normal for a good portion of the U.S., except for the extreme north, near normal in the northeast. And you see where the most precip expected again through the end of the year, really. All right, so yeah. Well, enjoy the warm weather here in the south and the southeast and most of the nation, because I'm sure eventually it's going to cool off again when the pattern shifts again. But for right now, we're going to get one cold shot. You got to endure some really cold weather for the short term. For the south, for the north, extreme northern U.S., going to remain cold, I think, up into the extreme north, but the rest of the nation is going to warm up with heavy rain along the west coast. That's all I got for today, guys. Hope you all have a great Friday, and God bless.